We are trying to qualify for one of iRacing's biggest esports championship. That's right, the Porsche Esports Super Cup. After week one, we found ourselves inside the qualifying zone for our Asia Pacific region in 24th position, but it's safe to say that things are only going to get more difficult from here, with some drivers trying to play catch up on points and others trying to secure another top spot. Everyone understood that every position of every race really does matter. So how do we stack up at the end of this week? Are we still inside that qualifying zone? Well, let's jump into the races and find out. So here we are at the very warm and very bumpy Sebring International Raceway, ready to take on round 2 of our Porsche Cup Esports Open qualifiers. 43-degree track temperatures to start out our qualifying sessions here, and after invalidating my first flying lap with an off-track, I knew it was all down to this, and qualifying was going to be crucial around this circuit. Hard to pass, lots of chaos as this race goes on. We need to get this right. Fortunately, as we get to the end of the lap, we are 7/10ths up on our sort of provisional previous time, but 2 deep under brakes into Sunset, final corner here. Too much ABS, cooking the front tyres, unable to turn the car through the mid corner, having to back right out of the throttle to avoid the wall on the outside of the final turn. We lose over half a second, a time that would have put us into the top 10, but unfortunately things were going to be much more difficult for us starting out of position 20. So on the back foot, we get ready for the start, waiting for that green light, and we are underway. It's a good jump from me, gapping the car that was next to me, and a bit of a run here on car 24. We look towards the middle of the circuit with car 20 next to me. We're going to have to give a little bit of space all round as we find ourselves really in the middle of the turn here with cars all around, 3 wide as we exit, but we are not the car in front. We back out of that, trying to be safe. We're going to have a car down the inside as we get into turns number 3, 4 and 5. Just want to give enough space here as we all get through here nice and cleanly. The whole field, in fact, doing a good job of that this time around. Out of turn number 5 now, through the long turn 6 towards the hairpin critical corner here under lap 1 circumstances, with all the additional cars all bunched up. We're going to be nice and cautious as there's gaps to cars all around, and we're going to hug that inside curbs. A little bit of door banging on the exit there, nothing that affects us at this stage, but cars all around. A slow car 24 with slower cars in front as we head down towards turn number 10. Again, very crucial stopping zone here, and in fact it's the car behind, car number 15, our brakes himself. We have to give him space to let him slide on through there. Takes contact with car 9, and look at that, he manages to actually hold on to the position there, but we are fortunate to not get collected by him. Safety first, but this is not the way we want to be going in this race. Looking around the outside of car 15 as we get through the critical turn 13, and we're going to go side by side with him as we go through the kinks here. As we head down towards the final sector here through Le Mans, and it's going to be side by side the whole way around. A couple of cars turned around, one rejoining at the exit of this corner. It's going to be right in front of us into our braking zone there, so we have to brake a bit earlier than we hoped for. That's going to allow the door open for car 20 as we head onto the back straight and down towards Sunset. It's the final turn of this 17 corner circuit. And this is obviously such a tricky corner, especially under cold tyres. So we're going to be on the outside here, looking for a nice wide line, but we see tyre smoke ahead, yellow flags, lots going on, and we get squeezed through the middle here as we try and avoid it. Car 15 on my outside, car 12 on the inside, and it's contact all round, and quite a mess as we finish off lap number 1. Now we're going to go back to that replay in a moment, but we've got to deal with turn 1 on lap number 2. Car number 7 around the outside, he's unable to hold it there, so we are going to manage just to hold on to this position 18, now up to position 17, in fact, the start of lap number 2. But what has gone on at the final turn? Well, car number 10 down the inside at Sunset has to check up a bit too much and loses the rear end of his Porsche into turn 17. There's a concertina effect with some other cars, and as a few of us try to all turn to the inside to avoid the mess, I get squeezed between car 12 and car 15, who's turning to avoid those spun cars, and that results in even more issues on the outside of car 17. You can see the damage as a result to the driver's side of my car, quite significant, and at this stage I wasn't aware of how significant that damage was. On to lap number 3 though, after a little bit of respite on lap 2, that would be the final time for the next 10 or so minutes that I would get a quiet lap in this race. Coming through turns 3, 4, 5 once again, car number 1 obviously involved in some early race drama. He throws it up the inside at turn number 5 in a nice move there. And then by the end of the lap, we had a really good understanding of our position in this race. You see the track map, there is a gap there from the front of our group for 11th through to the next car up the road, car 10, and it certainly proved how important qualifying was at this circuit. If you got it right, you would immediately get away from the mess. Those cars going to have a much simpler time at this race than us. We are back here fighting for the minor places, but it's a championship round. All of these places absolutely matter, so we're going to have to do our best to try and move forward at any rate we can. Car 23 looking for a gap that doesn't exist behind there, and then I get a bit of a run down the inside at turn 5 on car 20, a little bit off the nose in front as we exit that corner, as we head down towards the turn 7 hairpin. You say still got that inside run on me, so we're going to try and brake nice and deep to the hairpin. We almost run into the back of car 17 in front. We just about get it turned, still side by side. We make the racing room there, but we do keep it on track, but unfortunately not quite the same room given by car 20. A bit of a bump and they head off. You see over here, I'm definitely side by side. We keep it just inside track limits as it should be expected. Car 20 just trying to run me a little bit narrow there, takes a bump, and unfortunately he loses a couple more positions. Lap number 6, and it is a return to the hotspot of this race, the turn 7 hairpin. Unfortunately this time it is me making the mistake. Too deep under brakes, lots of ABS, can't get the car stopped, and car number 7 gets a run up the inside there. We gave ourselves racing room on the exit, but he's now side by side with the inside line into turn number 10. We decide to brake early as car 23 doesn't look like they're directly behind at this moment. We sneak in behind number 7 there, but car 23 a 0x contact through that corner, and then we're going to get another 0x contact from that car into turn 13. So we're seeing that car 23 quite a bit of aggression there, following very, very close, and that's something we'll have to be mindful of. The next lap, and we're once again back at the hairpin. This time car 17, 2 cars in front, makes the mistake. Car 7 with a similar run out of that turn as he had on me the previous lap. Again, we're heading down to turn number 10, but unfortunately this time for car 7, he's not quite alongside, so they're going to go side by side through this corner. We've taken the racing line, a much better exit here, but a bit of a roadblock, and that means we have to lift the throttle a little bit. Car 23 doesn't get that memo though, and he runs into the back of me and spins out of our rear view mirror. We're all eyes forward though as we go down the inside of car 17, looking for a good exit, but unfortunately just get ourselves into a really big slide there. No position gained as we try and chase down some better positions. Although behind car 23 is replaced by car 3, another aggressive driver in this race, a big bold move down into Sunset. He does get the car stopped however on the apex, although we take a little bit of a 0x bump as we try and exit the corner side by side down the straight, and then we get into a bit of a bumper cars match there. I'm just trying to ease across to the racing line, he holds me narrow, we take a couple of knocks there, and as we go side by side through turn 1, I decide that that aggression level is not what I'm after at this stage of the race. We let him by and settle back into the rhythm here. Can we get these cars back later in the race? Now at that point we had just gone through 15 minutes, and for the next 7 minutes thankfully things really did quieten down. All of that attack through the first half of the race was certainly paying a toll on my tyres. You see here on lap number 11 a big slide trying to get onto the power out of turn 16. Things were looking a little bit rough around the edges for me, still back here in 17th place. Now coming up to Sunset Bend, and we're going to get another moment here on the rear tyre, almost losing the car in the middle of the corner, a very slow mid-corner. Car 26 now with the run here, again a little bit of a wobble as we exit, now side by side as we go down towards turn number 1. We don't get the bumper match as we had previously with car 3, on the brakes trying to get this car turned. Car 26 right around the outside, and a nice aggressive move there. Thankfully we didn't make any contact, but that was a bit of a wake-up call for me, just to settle down a little bit. The tyres aren't there perfectly, with a little bit more patience things would get better, and they certainly did. The next lap we actually set the fastest lap of our race, so we are certainly learning inside this one to hopefully have better pace in our second attempt later in the week. Coming through with just 3 laps to go, we were just about getting a handle on this car now, but it's certainly a little bit of too little too late at the back end of this race with under 5 minutes to go. And behind, well, it's car number 3. They'd made a bit of a mistake earlier in the race. We are now in front of them once again, and they're trying to chase us down once more. So could we at least make a few positions here and a little bit of a group in front as well? Well, we'd certainly need to be a good final to this race. And how much was that damage going to really hurt us later in this one? Through turn number 1 here with just 2 laps to go, unfortunately very, very wide right out of the throttle to avoid the off track. That aggression from car 3 serves him well. We tried to cover it off, but he was right through the rear mirror there. We decided just to let that one go after making the mistake. But it wasn't over yet. The group of 3 in front were battling hard into the hairpin here, and you could see how quickly the 4 of us were getting towards the back of that train. Here, as we head to the back straight now, with just the 1 lap to go after this one, things were really starting to heat up in this group. There could be a fair bit of drama, and in fact the drama was going to come, but from cars in front. The position 8 car there, number 8, big aggressive move, gets it all wrong, takes out the innocent party there, car 14, and that's going to throw the yellow flags as we see car 3 and 26 having a good old battle into sunset. Cars all over the place at this corner, and car 3 runs very, very wide indeed. Big slide, actually tags the wall on the outside there, and we're fortunately narrow enough to avoid him as we start the white flag final lap of this race. Now, after witnessing what transpired there on the lap before and now being up in position 16, it was certainly a case of just waiting to see if any opportunities would bring themselves to me on this final lap. A bit of a run here on car 26 through this final lap, as my car actually felt pretty decent here on lap 15 of this one, but no real opportunities through the mid-sector on this final lap. And interestingly, car 3, despite hitting the wall, was still on the chase here as we entered the final stages of this lap. On to the back straight now. It's not the greatest exit onto this corner, unfortunately, as the whole field moves right and left in the slipstream train, trying to get as much advantage as possible. Wary of car 3 behind, whether he'll do something crazy into this final corner, and he sort of does, going very narrow, going to go through the rear vision mirror there, but it's car 26 who runs very, very wide indeed. Get a bit of a run out of this final corner, a little bit too cautious on the accelerator though, and as we try and run to the line, you can see the nose of that car, and it's not going to be enough. It's going to be P16 on the line, and although a fun finish to this race and lots of good wee battles there, it's not the race that we were hoping to have. So under big pressure, can we get a result and get it done in attempt number 2? So, second qualifying lap now of attempt number 2 here at Sebring, and I knew from race 1 that this lap was going to be absolutely crucial. Now for this one, we had dual card number 23 in what was the highest strength of field that I had raced in these qualifier races so far. Just under 4,000 iRating strength of field and split 3. So what I knew was that there were going to be more championship points on the line for this race, but it was going to be much harder for me to actually get them. Despite that, and my learnings from the first race was going to put me into a nice position here, and I knew that if I got things absolutely right, I could 100% challenge for a top 10 and some significant championship points. It just had to go right. Coming out of the hairpin towards turn number 10, and we are 3.5 tenths up on our previous lap. Second flying lap, so crucial here in any of the Porsche Cup qualifying sessions that you end up doing. Through the middle sector, not quite getting it as nice through there as I have done previously, but the relative starting to show a predicted lap inside the 2-minute ones, which was what I was aiming for this particular lap. 44-degree track temps made things very, very tricky indeed, but you had to be very patient, very careful on your corner entries. Don't overshoot them, don't get into ABS too much, keep those front tyres nice for the turn in and the mid corner. Out towards the back straight now, we are 4 and a bit tenths up. surely there's going to be some time in this final corner if we get it right. But remember, we really made a mess of this in race number 1, so we're going to be a bit more cautious here. We don't run too wide, but we aren't going to have the absolute best run through here. Not as hard on the throttle as early as I can. We do run it all the way out to that outside wall, so it is a good corner for me, but didn't quite bring the gains I was hoping for. But a 2-minute 1.9 does get us under that 202 bracket, but just a tenth of a second would have taken us from the 17th position that we had inside the top 10. So it was so incredibly tight, this field, and I knew that this race start was going to be absolutely crucial for me to have a chance at a good result. Green light, we're underway, and yes, it's another good launch from me. My launches so far have been fantastic in these cup cars. We get a run on car 26 who covers off the inside down into turn 1. We're going to be in the middle 3 wide. A spinning car 22 through turn 1, take someone else out on the outside of the track as well. We pick up a few positions, now being cautious into this turn number 3, 4, 5 complex, side by side with another car there, and he's going to have a bit of a run around the outside. We try and get on the power, but it's not quite enough, so we're going to tuck on in here behind car 15 as we head down to this very crucial turn 7 hairpin. We're going to be nice and firm down here. We don't want to lose our positions after gaining a few out of the start, but it's going to turn into a bit of a disaster. We get into the back of car 26. We see the chaos that it causes behind, and we can see the damage on the front of our Porsche Cup car. What on earth has happened? Jumping back into the replay, and initially I thought this was completely on me, and in a way it absolutely is, but on the replay we can see car 18 checking up a bit there. Car 26 gets into the back of him a little bit, and then the concertina effect means that I run into car 26 with some great force. It really does move the rear of that car 26 up into the air, and of course all the carnage that it causes on the outside, and I truly have to apologize to all of those drivers involved for my part in that. And as you can see from the damage there, very disappointing looking Porsche Cup car underneath me, and you can see the reaction. I know that this is going to be a huge effect on my race. End of the first lap, and away the bonnet goes there as we head to sunset, and immediately this is the first real chance to see just how poor the performance now is on our cup car after all of that front end damage. We can barely turn the car, we collect that outside wall as well, and we just become now a bit of a rolling roadblock. Car 26, the car that I hit there, catches me up through the middle sector, and we just have absolutely no turn in this car. And with the train of cars behind, I decide that the safest thing for me to do is simply to bring this car into the pit lane. Race is now over. A hugely disappointing second attempt here at these Cup Car qualifier races. Really disappointing end. How's that going to affect my overall championships? Let's talk about it. So unfortunately, it is far from the results that I was hoping to show you during these week 2 races, and it has absolutely affected our championship standings. Now, interestingly, our 253 championship points has in fact elevated us in our overall championship standings up to 153rd. It's quite clear that a number of European drivers have decided not to partake in the rest of the championship, but in my Asia Pacific region, the region I am competing in, we have fallen from 24th to 27th. Not the biggest drop, but certainly we are going the wrong direction here. And if I have weeks like this for the next 2, there are certainly a number of drivers below me who could quite easily collect more points and push me outside of that top 32. Now, on a personal note, it has been hard to sort of wrap my head around how I feel about still being inside this qualifying position for my region based on how poorly I did race the 2 Sebring races. In a way, I feel like performances like that shouldn't grant you access to esports championships, and I'm going to have to work really hard in the next 2 weeks to put together performances that make me feel like I should belong inside the next stage of this competition. So we now move on to Suzuka for week number 3. If you want to see how those races go for me, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a big like, even as a like of support for the disaster of a week that we have had. As always, thank you so much for watching this video and watching to the end here. Race hard, stay positive, And we'll see you in the next Porsche Esports Super Cup qualifier video very soon. Cheers.